Hello, lovely people. This is Joshua, and welcome to the final episode of How to Study series. And in this episode, we are going to talk about how to memorize. And memorization, I think, is probably the simplest of the three aspects of the studying we talked about. Revision, remember, learning, and today, memorization. Well, learning did require working memory and some stamina and clever usage of your energy. But memorization is relatively straightforward. You might argue that learning and revision, it all comes down to memorization. So memorization is indeed a foundational skill for other skills, I would say. And luckily is quite straightforward, like I said, and it doesn't require much of working memory. So how to achieve good memorization? Let's get to it. So to memorize things well, I will talk about this confined to English as Tuberniz English institution. So let's say you're memorizing words or sentences. When it comes to memorization, it's all about stimulation. It's about stimulating your senses. It's all about making gateways for you to fall back to, come back to. Let's say you are memorizing the word articulation. It's a difficult word and you're not familiar with it. But if you associate the word articulation with certain motions or a situation where you've heard someone say, oh, he's very articulate, you heard someone using it in a sentence and you understood it, or you memorize a situation where you've understood the word being used, those are all the clues that you can leverage. So what am I saying? You cannot just sit at your desk and look at the word for a certain amount of time and hope that you will memorize it. You need to be doing something. You are either speaking the word, you are writing it down, and you're also actively making, if you don't have memories associated with the word, which often you will face that situation, the younger the students, the more you will run into this problem because you are inexperienced in life. So you wouldn't know certain words in Korean either. So how do you possibly memorize all these words? You have to make emotional connection to the word or the sentences. So how to do that? Imagery helps, story helps, context helps. So without this imagery or the context or the situation or the experience or the memory that you can fall back to, of course it's going to be difficult for you to memorize that word or sentences. So what am I suggesting that we do? We can artificially make those situations, create those contexts where that word can be used. And of course, the example sentences, usually they are designed to provoke you some emotions, or they are focused on the situations that are quite familiar to you, that are often used in real life situations. But to make that better, you need to actively engage with what you're trying to memorize. I think this principle applies to across all the academic fields. If you want to memorize something, you first need to understand, you need to get the feel of it, and you always need to write it down. Some kids, they only look at the word and they think they got it. But I say no, never. You can never achieve full memorization without jotting it down, without writing it down several times. We kind of make our students write it down at least 3 times, but of course that's not enough at all. You need to write down at least 10 or 15 times. I think I did more than that to memorize one word. So it is an arduous work and it does require laborsome. It's toil. It's a lot of work. That's why most of the students I know, they shun from it. But you need to get used to memorizing in this way. Otherwise, you cannot bring it back. See, the memorization we memorize it so that you can summon it back, so that you can record it and you can pronounce it back correctly. You can make the correct sound, and you can also write it down in correct manner, in correct spelling. Otherwise, you haven't memorized. So don't be afraid to write things down a lot. I remember my friend, when I was studying at UK, making fun of me because he had a look at my notebook. I was writing one word number of times, quite a lot. So he thought I was mad. Like Joshua, why are you writing this word so many times? Are you obsessed with this? But yeah, I was only trying to memorize that word. I'm not going to tell you what that word was. It was a funny word, and yeah, he thought I was going mad. But see, I still do that. I did that when I was a teenager, because English isn't my first language, you see. And I do still struggle memorizing words, and I do still write things down quite a lot. And if you can write it down, you can type it and you can use it. Unless you can correctly spell the words, the word isn't yours. So make effort. It's going to take a while, but let me tell you, it gets easier. As you learn more words and you start to see the patterns in English, and words usually have these similar patterns because English words do derive from German, French, mostly. So it has common features. So it's not that hard. You just need to work out what's stopping you, which parts are tricky to memorize. And pronunciation. Let's not overlook it. So you need to speak it while you're writing it. If you are one of those silent students, if you're just silently studying, no. You need to speak it. You need to speak it out. You need to be making sounds and memorizing at the same time. Because our parents' generations or the elders who haven't had the privilege of having these wonderful technologies that we now have, of course, it was difficult for them to figure out the pronunciation. But now we can check the pronunciation either on online, or they give MP3 files these days, don't they? Or at Turbonies, we use YouTube videos where at least we encourage you to pronounce it along the AI voices at least 3 times and twice in the sentence. So follow the pronunciation, try to master it. And if you can fall back on, if you can check your pronunciation with your coaches or teachers, even better, which is what we do at Turbonies. So we cannot neglect the importance of making the sound accurately, making correct pronunciation, and spelling. And of course, memorization also involves a whole lot of other things, memorizing concepts, memorizing sentences, memorizing maybe even a paragraph of ideas. The more you do it, the easier it gets. It's like a muscle that you develop. You use that muscle long enough, your brain figures out the best way for you to memorize. And there are other tricks that you can use. At Turbonies, we use a lot of tricks. One of the tricks we use is 연산법. 원숭이 엉덩이는 빨개, 빨간 것은 사과. Every Korean knows this song. And I've never met anybody who cannot finish the song until the end. Why is this possible? Because each word reminds you, has some clues for the next word following. So there are a lot of tricks like this. And at Turbonies, we use them all the time. We use them to memorize grammar rules, certain difficult grammar structures even. So, you need a lot of tricks. And the point for using all these tricks is for you to bring it back, for you to have these gateways and breadcrumbs that you can follow back. I cannot go through entire tricks that we use, but what I like to emphasize at this video is that get down to work, focus, and write things down. Even if you're tired, you're not up to the task, you don't feel like studying, let me tell you good news. As long as you write things down number of times, your hand will memorize it. Your hand motion will memorize the spelling. And when it comes to listening, you just need to listen. So you just need to expose yourself to English and do some work working meaning writing. So it's really straightforward. Don't be afraid to get to it. I like to finish the video with one last trick that I like to introduce. It's called nevi씰 trick. What this nevi씰 trick is that you tell yourself, okay, I'm only going to memorize maybe 1 or 2 words, and you sit yourself down at the desk and you memorize 1 or 2 words. And guess what? Guess what ends up happening? You do more than memorize 1 or 2. You do at least 3 or 4 or 5. This is what they do at nevi씰. They say, okay, I'm just gonna do 5 push-ups, and when they do 5 push-ups, 5 push-ups leads to 10, 10 leads to 15, 15 to 30. So trick is for you to make that start. And it's difficult to make that start. So be kind to yourself and just sit yourself down, telling yourself, I'll have a look at it. I just open the book and have a look at it for 5 minutes, and that's it. And so, yes, well, hopefully this video will help. And yes, do use that nevi씰 trick and get to work, right? It's not that hard. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Two bunnies making new